Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. The last couple of days, I've been talking about and reading about and practicing self-care. That is so important to fill yourself up, to notice that you feel better, you think better, you act better when you're feeling better. And feeling better comes from the small choices that we make every day. The choice to stay up late, to drink, to do too much. The choice to get 8 hours sleep, drink lots of water, go for a walk. It's all tiny little choices that add up. And when you make it a regular practice, a habit to go to bed early, to get some exercise and fresh air, you don't think about it. You just do it naturally. It just happens. And then the choices all add up to nicer results, better results, healthier results. And if you've been not finding the time to take care of yourself, that will be the first thing that I would suggest you do is start to treat your body, your mind, your soul as your best friend, the most precious thing you have in this world, because without your health, you really have nothing. Leland Vanderwall is quoted as saying, "Let us not look back in anger nor forward in fear, but around us in awareness." I'm going to read a chapter from Brian Proctor's book, My Father Knew the Secret, Growing Up with Bob Proctor. And he talks about the importance of self-care. Brian writes, "Do you ever replay old stories in your mind? Unfortunately, more often than not, the stories we play on repeat do not move us forward. They hold us back. If you are finding your thoughts are looping and are intrusive, working to let that go is its own special kind of freedom. Our thoughts and stories are very real to us. They are our perceptions that include data from our past, present, and future. And if intrusive, those thoughts can keep us from moving forward into growth." Brian writes, "I grew up hearing Dad, Bob Proctor, say, 'Whatever's happened in the past is in the past. The only place the past exists is in your mind. It is no longer happening to you right now, so don't keep it alive if it's not serving you.' Let it go was at the top of Dad's toolkit when I was growing up. He would listen when I said I needed to talk, and then he would ask me if what I was telling him was making my life better. Of course, it usually wasn't, and he would simply say, 'Let it go.' I remember being frustrated with this when I was young, but as an adult, I appreciate the simplicity of this message. I often just say to myself, 'That's right, Brian, let it go. Don't try to complicate this. Make space for the good.' The opportunity in letting go is identifying what is mentally and emotionally draining you. Then, by letting it go, you create a new empty space that can be filled by conscious choice. He writes, "I have noticed in my own family how a shared experience gets molded into a memory or story to fit our chosen role. We use our stories to form our identities. We use them as evidence to support the person we are today. And sometimes we trap ourselves in a thought loop that we can't escape. Brian Proctor talks about his dad, Bob Proctor, when he was growing up. He says, "My parents divorced when I was 14 years old. I have a younger sister and a younger brother, so the three of us each have slightly different memories and stories of our parents' divorce. Nevertheless, each of our stories support our point of view about that event and how we define ourselves today. We are each biased by our own perspective that is further narrowed by our ages at the time and the story molding that happens through hearing others tell it. Additionally, these memories are also shaped by how we saw our place in the event, as well as the present day role we now occupy in life. For each of us, our stories are correct, even if they are different. My way of thinking was formed by growing up with Bob Proctor and working directly next to him for close to 30 years of our 60 years together. That experience leads me to hold on to more positive memories and, more importantly, to let go of negative thoughts. I have learned to give very little energy to the struggles I endured. I know this is because of how I was raised. I know it is from watching my dad and paying attention as a young child. When you think about that, each person has their own memory, their own stories, and we retell the story over and over and over, and we tend to exaggerate, to focus on what caused us to be angry, what caused us to be resentful or to feel to be a victim. And sometimes we really enforce that so that others understand us, they get us, they believe that we've had it so bad, so terrible. But I want you to listen to the rest of this chapter because Brian talks about how you can lessen the burden, the emotional burden. And if we want to have a better life, a nicer life, a calmer, more interesting, beautiful, free life, we have to drop those problems, let go of the anxieties, and stop telling the old negative stories because we are where we are, and we can change the future. We can change how we feel. We can decide we're going to feel better, feel lighter, happier, healthier. And that comes from letting go of the old stories. Not that they didn't happen, but they don't have to define our future. They don't have to keep us stuck. Brian writes about his wife, Corey. He says, "Before Corey and I were married, Dad created an affirmation that Corey continues to use today. Corey has perfectionist tendencies. She can get stuck in details and have difficulty moving forward. This affirmation helped her so much that she pulled the word let out of it and wrote it everywhere with a dry erase marker. Let was on her car windshield. The word let, L-E-T, was written on her bathroom mirror, and it was written across her kitchen window, all places she would see multiple times a day. It was her reminder to let go. What seeing the word let did for Corey was to cue her to pause and make space by letting go of the thought she was ruminating over. This helped her to move forward. At events, Bob Proctor would bring Corey on stage to recite the affirmation, and that is when he got the idea of how to help others with it. In 2018, Bob Proctor had the graphic designer create an artistic rendition of the word let. It was beautiful and calming to look at. He then had thousands of copies made and laminated, and they gave them away at events. Bob Proctor would instruct people to place this placard somewhere they would see throughout the day. Brian writes, "My father knew that the most important conversations we have are the ones we have with ourselves, and that life is really an invisible power that flows to and through us. If life is feeling flat, then we should look for where the resistance is. Of course, it is in our thoughts. So examine your thoughts. The chatter that plays on in a loop in your mind, if that chatter is intrusive and has become an obstacle to your growth, do the work to deal with it. With intention, you can lessen the emotional burden of the resistance. And when you do this, you will create room for the good you desire to flow to and through you. An exercise I have used to lessen the emotional burden is to identify the intrusive thoughts and then allow myself to engage differently with that memory to gain a new perspective. I look inward and edit that story. Literally, I do this by writing it out on paper in detail. Doing this helps me to release the emotional weight and make space for moving on. Finally, I look for the good that has resulted. It may not feel equal to the pain, but there is always good. Yesterday, I read Corey's affirmation, and I'm going to repeat it today. I am so happy and grateful now that I let everything in my life flow free and easy, and I focus only what serves me toward my higher good. That's such a beautiful affirmation. It allows your central nervous system to calm down. And when your central nervous system is calm, you create solutions, you find opportunities, you can get through whatever problem you're facing. It's so much easier when you drop the drama, when you stop telling the story of how much you've been hurt, victimized, bothered, and focus on feeling better, bringing more joy and happiness into your life. Yes, of course, the past, the negative things have caused you pain. Everyone goes through that. But the quicker you can let go of how much it hurt, how badly you were bothered, how much you were victimized, the more room you make in your life for ease and flow and fun and beauty and more good of every kind to come to you. Brian Proctor gives us something to consider. He says, if you are held captive by the stories you are telling yourself, rewrite the story. When we are ready to create meaningful change, we can take the step to consciously differentiate between what makes us feel good and what makes us feel flawed or inadequate. Suspend any judgment you have put on yourself and ask yourself this question: how is this story serving me? Examine your thoughts. Are they keeping you stuck in a place that has become your comfort zone? All memories carry associated emotions. However, some are connected to strong negative emotions and tend to be the ones that take up the most real estate in our mind. Start by finding a way to both honor your feelings and to forgive. Maybe it is forgiving yourself. This is critical. If you do not forgive, your energy will be stuck and your creative power restricted. Try being proactive in changing your perspective rather than being passive. Start to notice how much of your creative energy you anchor in the past with attached shame, guilt, or blame. These are emotions that keep us stuck. Write it all out. Writing causes thinking and engages our mind differently. That single word, let, can serve as a reminder to quickly move on from any thoughts blocking our energy when that looping chatter begins. You have the ability within you to set yourself free. This is a really important practice, to take out a pen and paper and start writing. Bob Proctor would suggest every single day, write a goal that is big and beautiful, something that inspires you, something that you desire more than anything. Maybe it is to have a healthy, strong body. And as you write, I am so happy and grateful now that I am healthy, I am strong, I feel wonderful. You start to practice that. You start to recognize some of your choices haven't been in alignment with that goal. And you start to get new ideas. They flow in, and you realize, oh, maybe that regular drinking or that eating, snacking before bed or overeating or eating junk food is not in alignment with my desire for a strong, healthy, fit, active body. And you decide, you set an alarm, you maybe go for a walk on your lunch break or after supper, or you put more fun in your calendar. Instead of saying, I don't have time, I can't afford it, you actually join your friends for a golf game or a fishing trip or simply a walk around the block. Taking short breaks, changing your mental health, changing your physical environment, making choices that start to support that goal. And things that have happened in the past in relationships, let go of the negative emotions that are attached to the story. Rewrite it. Write out how fun, how beautiful, how joyful, how easy. And you'll notice sometimes you're telling the old stories that revolve around negative emotions when there were so many more fun, pleasant times. Our brains are wired to protect us, to notice threats, to look for danger. And so we tend to spend 80% of our time noticing the bad, the challenges, the difficulties, and the 20% of the time is, what if we flip the script and recognize that 80% of our life is really going smoothly, maybe even boring? We don't notice how good life really is. One of the most important things you can do is write out a gratitude list. Write down 10 things that you're grateful for today. You might say, "Oh, I don't have 10 things to be grateful." Well, then, if you change your attitude, if you allow yourself to bring in some positive relaxation, centering yourself, taking a deep breath in, recognizing that your breath is there all the time. You're breathing in and you're breathing out automatically. Your heart is beating automatically. Your digestive system is working without you having to think about it. You can relax and just allow your body to do the work that it's intended to do without strain, without effort. Grateful that you woke up this morning. I am so happy and grateful now that this is a new day. It's a blank slate. I can write a new story. I can start to write what I want and put myself into alignment, my heart, my mind, my actions, my thoughts, feelings, behavior in alignment with what I want. A strong, healthy body, a beautiful, loving relationship, purposeful work, time to enjoy leisure activities. If you're not enjoying some time, what are you doing with all that time? Everyone has the same number of hours in the day. Choose wisely. Choose to allow some time to think beautiful thoughts, reflecting on what is going well in your life, because there is good in everything. Some days we have to look a little harder, but recognize some of the most challenging days you've ever had, some of the darkest periods of your life, were those times that prepared you, strengthened you to become the version of you that you are, making the right choices, making decisions, allowing things to be easy, allowing things into your life that you love. When you are in a relaxed state of being, you can write out, "I am so happy and grateful now that." You might create an affirmation for yourself like Corey's. Maybe it sounds a little crazy, a little too simple, too much of a fairy tale. Write something that you want, something that resonates with you. And if you write something like Corey's affirmation, "I am so happy and grateful now that I let everything in my life flow free and easy, and I focus only on what serves me toward my greater good," you will notice more good. You will Let the challenges, the difficulties, the problems float out of your experience and allow more good to come. Embracing the calm, understanding that everything is always changing, everything is transforming. What happened to you yesterday or 40 years ago should not be taking up so much space in your mind that you can't allow more good into your life. Let go of the anger, the guilt, the resentment, the doubt, the worry, and allow more beauty, more fun, more joy, more well-being. Life is so much more fun when you let things happen. Take a deep breath in and write out what you are grateful for, and let go of some of the meaning behind your negative stories. Write a new story. You are the author of your life. Change the script, and your life can change overnight. It might feel weird at first. It might feel like something's missing. That's because you're getting used to letting things be easy, allowing things to come into your life, letting life flow easily. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Create a wonderful day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.